President Obama, he is slamming House Republicans over the so-called gridlock in D.C. Now, the president says he's had to carry out executive orders to put policies in place that would have been roadblocked in the Republican-controlled House. Well, Thursday, House Speaker John Boehner said he may sue the president for, quote, abusing his power, end quote. President, he spoke out about the controversy to ABC's George Stephanopoulos.
What I do worry about is that right now we've got a Republican Party that seems to only care about saying no to me.
And you've got Speaker Boehner talking about suing you for executive actions that he says has crossed the line. He says, we elected a president, we didn't elect a monarch or king.
Well, you notice that he didn't specifically say what exactly he was objecting to. I'm not going to apologize for trying to do something while they're doing nothing.
Even if you get sued.
You know, the suit is a stunt. But what I've told Speaker Boehner directly is, if you're really concerned about me taking too many executive actions, why don't you try getting something done through Congress?
Now, Speaker Boehner, for his part, says the president should have received congressional approval before exercising his executive power. And guys, we know how the Supreme Court ruled this week here, saying that, yes, the president did overstep boundaries in this particular case. But when I heard that, I thought, you know what? There may be a point to this. We saw the passing of the late Senator Baker.
Mm-hmm.
And a Republican that was just, you know, an institution there. But he was the guy who went after Nixon, and he was known as the conciliator. He was the guy who learned to walk or worked across lines here to get deals done. It just struck me from then to where we are now. If you do anything to get stuff done, expect a primary, and very possibly expect here not to have a place anymore in the Republican Party. And now I'm starting to see it with Democrats too. You know, if a Democrat works with a Republican to try and do something, he's a sellout also. Forget about whose fault it is, but we've gotten to the point where you can't make a deal anymore. And it's, forget blood sport, it's almost 101. Do whatever you got to do, just grind stuff to a halt. It's the new normal.
I mean, I guess it comes down to a simple question of why people get into politics these days. Is it to keep getting elected and establish your own reputation? Because that seems like the action that most people are focused on in Washington, is being able to come back for another term and another term after that. Or do you actually want to do something and do something for the good of the country? You mentioned Howard Baker. I was always a fan of Howard Baker because he had one of these approaches that was like, this is what's in the best interest of the country, and I'm going to do what I have to do to advance the country's interests. And there was also a feeling a generation and a half, 2 generations ago, that, you know, this newly elected president, whoever it happens to be, gets a mandate. He gets a certain amount of leeway to institute some of the policies. After all, the people have spoken. That's what their election was for. That's all gone now. That's all gone. It's because we're more polarized, the parties are more polarized, the media is more polarized. There are so many different causes to it, but we're very close to a crisis in this country. The gridlock in Washington, there's going to be gridlock that comes out of that Supreme Court ruling about recess appointments. That's only going to add to the gridlock. We're very close to a crisis and not being able to respond to things in the way we need to.
And you know, there is also a crisis of confidence, and all the polls have shown this. The public doesn't believe anything anymore. And you know what? I understand their frustration, right? I'm surprised there's 7% of the public who believes in Congress anymore, really. Mm-hmm. But I was thinking, as much as we say they all do it, all the kids do it, after 9/11, Congress got behind President Bush, even those with reservations about the war. They gave him what they wanted. They gave him a blank check. They said, you know, do what you got to do. We did the Patriot Act after, even though there was a lot of reservations, right? And we can look back in history and say maybe they should have been tougher. But there was a benefit of the doubt given the president when he was doing certain things. And even when it comes to foreign policy now, the amount of backbenching going on to every single thing he does. First, if you can stop it, stop it. Secondly, if he gets it through, criticize it and marginalize it as much as possible, right? I mean, as much as I think the president could have been tougher, right? And there's a lot of things that have been better if he was clearer on it and like to fight a little bit more maybe instead of, you know, just whine or whatever. He's gotten dealt such a crummy hand, and I'd use a different word for that, with this Congress because they don't want to do anything.
Let me just write down where Dominic's going with his answer. Dominic, go ahead.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to go there
No,
tonight.
but take even the color thing out. I don't remember
Is that
it ever being this
possible?
bad.
Wait, Richard. Is that
Well,
possible?
you think if Hillary won, it's going to be just as bad?
Of course it won't be as bad.
Oh, I think
of course it won't.
I think it will
No,
be.
it won't.
I think
no, it won't because they fear the Clintons and the Republicans will work with them. They've already shown that when she was in the Senate, and they were all working together, one after another, with Hillary Clinton. I'm not saying that everything's based on race because this president has made some mistakes. He should have made sure the mayor of Chicago, what's his name again? He should
Rahm Emanuel. Yeah.
He needed Rahm Emanuel. You gotta have a hitman in the White House that says, okay, you won't do what the president says, you're gonna face a primary and you're gonna be gone, buddy. This president doesn't have that. I don't know if it's the intellectual aspect, and thus in the world of politics, no one's gonna respect that. But we can. It's almost like the American people said, we're going to make history. And this Congress said, you can make history all you want to. He's got to come through us.
See, my fear is that we've passed a point of no return.
Yeah.
Is that whoever the next president is, whether it's Hillary Clinton, whether it's Chris Christie, whether it's Jeb Bush, the minority party is going to be as intransigent as this current Republican Party has.
You know why I disagree?
Because it's worked. It's worked for the Republicans.
But you know why? It has worked. But the only reason why I disagree in this case, let's just say for argument's sake, Hillary runs and she's the next president. Theoretically. Hypothetically.
Right.
Possibly, allegedly. Right. Let's just say that. The Clintons are going to have somebody in the background that they just give them the look. And that means it's time to go to war with that person.
But if you're the Tea Party in the House, why would you fall for that when doing this has worked so well for the last...
You know what, Dominic? The worst fear I have is this doesn't end in 2016. Because, like he said,
it won't be as bad.
Look, McConnell said, what did he say? He wasn't even in the office for 2 months. And he said, our first biggest agenda is, right on camera, we're going to beat the president.
But can I ask
and for the last 6 years, they've tried, they failed every time. But you know what? They don't care.
Okay, I want to ask you a question.
And we got to go break.
And I'm not going to say race. I'm just going to throw the question out there. Why this president in particular is from the opposition party? We're determined he's not going to accomplish anything. We had a guest on this week who I think said it right. He upended, not just because of the name and the color, and that was part of it, but he changed the whole dynamic. Mm-hmm. He came out of nowhere. A state senator 2 years earlier, right, or whatever it was, and all of a sudden, this guy is a candidate, and he's the president. He's getting it with $5 and $10 donations. So you're telling me they're resentful?
No, they were scared. I think they were scared. And then all of a sudden, he was out of the box. They didn't know how to figure him out. So what do? They ground everything to a halt. And in grounding everything to a halt until they could figure out what they were going to do, and they never did, they found out, hey, this works. Mm-hmm. We get to call him whatever we want. Mm-hmm. He could be an alien, a legal alien, or maybe from a different country. He takes the hit. We're so far to the right now, it doesn't do anything to us. Our base loves whatever we could say. And that, sadly, is where we are right now, where there's the polar side on one. It's not like the liberals are running anything. Let's be honest here. Everybody's got this delusion. And the middle who want stuff done aren't motivated enough to punish the fringes who are taking us over the cliff. And I think Andrew's right. I thought he was wrong last year when he said, oh, this is the new normal. I'm starting to really fear that, think about it. What happened to Cantor, right? I mean, Cantor, he's no moderate. Cantor couldn't even stay in office because he was too Washington. There's a message that's being delivered. I know we're going to go to a break. Okay. All right, we come back here. We're going to take this one closer to home. The biggest political power play of the week actually happened in Albany. So the question is, why did State Senator Jeff Klein, leading his independent conference, back into the arms of the Albany Democrats? Well, Andrew spoke to him one-on-one. We'll find out the answer.